It's giving very, it's giving very something. It's giving very, it's giving very spinning. It's giving very something hot. New podcast living on the ankle. It's giving very something. It's giving very something. It's giving very ankle. It's giving very something. It's giving very spinning. It's giving very something hot. New podcast living on the ankle. It's giving very something. It's giving very something. It's giving very something hot. New podcast
What up?
It's giving very something. It's giving very spinning.
What up?
It's giving very something hot. New podcast living on the ankle. It's giving very something. It's giving very something. It's giving very
Yes. What's up? Welcome to It's Giving Very Something. I'm your host, PC. Well, I look like I'm sweating, like I done fried fish already. Praise God. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the show. It's episode 3. Tonight, we're having a serious conversation about mental wealth. I've heard it as mental health, but we're talking about mental wealth, right? And so I'm so excited, per usual. Shout out to everyone that's liking the post on IG and Twitter. The sponsors, I'm never going to forget y'all. We love an offering. Praise God. And everybody else who's just been sending well wishes. We have 2 special guests. Well, we have a co-host and a special guest who I'm so excited about. And I just wanted to say this too. Last week, Keandra, your Ask Me Once was in reference to you and your lover. And I appreciate you DMing me. And you had asked me about would I prepare myself to leave? And my answer is yes. Me personally, if I felt like my mate was cheating with someone at work, yeah, there's no conversation. So I just wanted to answer that to you. But listen, y'all already know this young man, this blessed man of God, okay? This author, to me, he's just a marketplace of greatness, just all around style, mindset, spirit. I respect him. We probably work on each other's nerves, but that's okay. That's what Black people do. We work on each other's nerves, right? I want you to put your hands together and welcome my godfather, my friend, Nate Whitfield. What's up, sir? Yo. Can we hear you? Got the mic on. You look blessed. Your volume good? Let me see. Uh-oh. It says you have yourself muted. Look in the corner and unmute yourself. There we go. Try now. Nope. It says you're unmuted. You want to go out and come back in? I know sometimes, depending on the connection. Yeah, because I see you talking. We just can't hear you. Hello to Maddie and Blaze. Thank you for joining. I said this too. Consistency is so key. You know what I mean? Initially, I started this podcast because I felt like my particular voice wasn't seen, right? And so for me, it's so intentional to have conversations that really people don't talk about. You see a lot of people talking about certain things, but some of the real stuff we don't really touch. We kind of sweep it under the rug. And so that's what this podcast is for, beyond just interviewing talent. I also just want to share a space with people I respect that I think you should know as well. And while we're waiting for Nate to come on, I am going to pull up the Ask Me Once so we can just jump into it. Waste no time. You already know. Make sure you follow us. Follow me on Instagram, official EuroC Smith. Getting a website together. Praise God. So our Ask Me Once for this evening comes from Darren in Shreveport, Louisiana. Okay. New Orleans. I think that's how you say it. New Orleans. That's right. Okay. Darren says, "What's up, brother PC? I have a feud going on with my best friend of 11 years. Okay. We have known each other since middle school and have never had any kind of rift until recently when I got promoted at our job. Oh, Jesus. At first, he was super turned about my promotion, even though we both applied. He's not really the polished type. He's not really the polished type, so I understand why he didn't get the promotion. My God. Okay. I promise I'm not being shady. Right. Do you think I should step to him about the cold energy and side comments at work about the new supervisor?" And you put quotations. "He's even started hanging with my ex, which is really weird. I appreciate the advice and great job, man. You got very something." Okay, let's bring Nate in. Nate, are you there?
Can you hear me now?
Come on, come on. There we go. Nate Whitfield, ladies and gentlemen. You know, sometimes the church don't have the right speakers, and so we got to call the Episcopal since the Baptist stuff ain't working. What's up, man?
How are you? First, let me
I'm
just tell the audience that you may be seated in Jesus' name. Because I know they're still standing on their feet.
Yes, look, it wouldn't be a real service if the pastor wasn't late. How are you? Welcome back.
I'm really good. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. You know, in spite of, you know, tragedies in a common place, I'm still pressing my way. I'm still covered. But we're getting into Ask Me Once. So, you know, I definitely want to get your 2 cents. This is Darren from Shreveport, Louisiana. I won't go over it all, but basically he's saying that him and his best friend of 11 years have suddenly had a rift in their friendship. And as it turns out, he was promoted at their job. So they work at the same place. And he says that initially a friend was turned about his promotion. So I'm guessing he was very excited, compliment him, you know, maybe going over the top. But he says recently that energy has turned cold, making side comments about him being a new supervisor, etc. He said he's even started hanging out with his ex, which is really weird. He says, "I appreciate the advice." So listen, the subject says, "My best friend feels like an enemy." You know, let me say this, because I'm sure you can give the people a word. Me personally, 2 things I got to ask you, Darren. The part about you saying he isn't polished, I don't know how that made me feel in my spirit. Because I guess in my mind, I just try to always speak life into the people I respect, the people I consider my peers. And so that was a little red flag for me. And so it would make me just ask, like, are you acting a certain way? You know, let's just keep it above. You know, have you changed at all in your aura because you got this promotion? Because that is a thing. You know, if my friend got promoted and I didn't, my friend may start, you know, not acting different, but just carrying himself differently than I've known in high school or back in the day, right? Which isn't necessarily a bad thing. The second thing for me is, did you know he was applying? Like, how did that work? It's a lot of details. What kind of job is it? ADP? Is it Walmart? Where, you know, because sometimes the shade goes different depending on the occupation. I feel like this. 11 years is a long time. Yes. In this era where folk can't even stay friends longer than a year, I would say watch your approach, right? Because you're the supervisor and he did not get the promotion. So I would just say lead with kindness. You know what I mean? You are already the supervisor, so it don't need to feel like a parent-teacher conference, right? But I was just, you know me, churchy. I would pray first. Ask God to direct your words, because I would hate for this to go way left. You said he's making side comments at work. Are those comments to other coworkers? Like, is it to you in passing? Is it in the lunchroom? Hit me back and let me know. All right, Nate, what's your take on this? My best friend feels like an enemy.
Those are all really great points to make, because we need some backstory to really give a really good analysis and to tell you what actually should be done. Because if you have, because sometimes people feel like when you get money, it changes you. No, sometimes it changes you. So I want to know who's the one being changed by the position. Is it Darren? What's the name, Darren? Because I'll screw up a name. Or was it the best friend? Who's being changed by the new position? And then it could be that you knew the friend was applying for the position. You applied for the position. You got it. So, we need
Right.
some backstory so we can really um, dissect this and give Darren a really good answer that he needs, because we want to find out, who is this, a real friend of me, or is this something you made up in your head?
Right. And you and me are kind of cut from the same cloth. In 2022, I ain't calling nobody a friend that I can't call it to pray.
Exactly.
And not even call to borrow money. But if I can't call you at a certain hour because I really need to get this devil off my back,
Right.
you're probably not somebody I'm considering a friend. And like I said, the verbiage he used as far as him being polished, and I don't know.
So who was polished? That is he saying that he's himself is polished?
He's saying his best friend is not. I guess he got the job because he appeared more, professional, and my brain, Taurus brain. I'm like, if he's white, if he's black, is it about a lineup? Does he have what's the aesthetic? Because I've known people that came from the park and our supervisors and did it just like the rest of them. So is that a personal view, or that's what somebody that hired you or gave you the promotion said? It's a lot of missing pieces for me. But like I said, I would just leave with kindness.
Who told you was more polished?
You said what?
I say, who told you was more polished?
Yeah. So,
is this a self-governing title? I'm just moving my book into the view, if you don't mind.
Exactly. Like I ain't saying that I get everything right, but I definitely don't throw people under the bus. That's not my steez. And I guess that just turned the conversation from me feeling like, okay, you might really be going through it and need to just have a conversation to like, well, did you start acting funny? And now he went from excited for you to being like, well, okay, you used to speak to me in the lunchroom. Now it's giving. I'm sorry, who are you?
It's giving Gary something.
Gary something. All right, listen, Darren, when you watch this, reach me back, sir. I just got a few more questions, okay?
We got a couple of more questions.
So listen, I want to take a special moment and thank Indie Cinema, as well as everyone else. Listen, I'm a graphic designer, so praise be to God. I kind of just make money every day, but it's always good when somebody specifies that they're sending any type of coinage towards the production of this show. And like I said, we're getting our campaigns together and moving into better promotion. So yeah, you're gonna see this face again and again and again. You got to stay with it, okay? So thank y'all, appreciate you. I want to bring on our special guest, someone that I love. When you talk about full of light, iridescent light, glorious light, beautiful light. She's also known as Eclipse. She's a playwright, spoken word artist. She released her first published book, Song of the Monsoon, in fall of 2019, which I had the privilege of doing the cover for, period. She's known for her versatile writing skill set, powerful stage presence, I agree, and honesty. She enjoys performing spoken word. She's from Norfolk, VA, 2 up, 2 down, but she currently resides in North Carolina. And she uses her platforms to enlighten, educate, and endorse positive change in the community. I love it. She's an MBA. Let's be clear about it. And just, what I would consider an intentional soul. We met just a couple years ago, and literally from day one, I say the same thing about my goddad. Family instantly. No stress, no strain, no struggle in the relationship. So I'm grateful. I'm excited for you to meet her as well, Nate. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for my twin, Santana Knight. What's up? What's up? What's up? How are you? Oh, can't hear you. What's going on with the? There we go.
Hey everybody, I am
Hello.
well. I am blessed. I am highly favored. Yes.
Yes. How are you this evening?
I am feeling wonderful.
Twin, can you turn your volume up just a little bit?
Sure. Okay. Is that better?
Yeah, that's perfect. Welcome, welcome.
Thank you.
Well, I was about to introduce you to Nate, but he's gone into the abyss. But welcome to It's Giving Very Something. I am pleased to have you here in a space with me tonight on the show. Thank you for your yes.
Yes.
Okay, so listen. I want to jump right into it. Can we play a game?
Yes, let's play a game.
You sure?
Yes.
I want you to say yes if you ain't ready.
I'm nervous.
It's not going to be hard, I promise.
But I trust you.
Facts. All right. No, thank you. Okay. There we go. Okay. This game is called I Know You Lying. Okay?
Okay.
I'm going to give you 5 scenarios in culture that we've witnessed. Hopefully you're aware of them, because I know you don't really get into the drama of reality TV, but we still gonna press our way, because I think you can get this, okay?
Okay.
I'm gonna just say the statement, and I want you to say, I know you lying if you think it's a lie, and why.
Okay. Okay.
And I'm gonna tell you if you're right or wrong.
Okay.
Okay, you ready?
Yes.
First one. Kim Zolciak screams of a cancer scare. From Real Housewives of Atlanta. Kim Zolciak screams a cancer scare. If y'all remember on Housewives, I don't really know which one it was, but she basically said that she had cancer during the season.
I think that's true.
What'd you say?
I think that's true.
No, I know you lying. She did not have cancer. She lied. She lied.
Oh.
Yeah, and I think what was crazy about that is, like a doctor actually spoke up and was like, we never tested her for that. She totally was like running them up on the show. Okay, second one.
Okay.
You ready?
Okay. Yes.
Lil Nas X prepares himself to birth his first baby.
I know you lying.
Yes. I don't know if y'all remember, he was all over Twitter. It went viral. It was a prosthetic, but it looked real. But he was keeping it funny. I was like, okay, I don't think the Lord would make that happen.
Yeah.
All right, next one. Jussie Smollett gets tangled in an empire in Chicago. This is, he said that he was a part of a hate crime, which he's actually been on trial for. What we saying?
I know you lying.
Yeah. So tell me why you think it's a lie, and I'll piggyback.
I think Mr. Smollett is more into honesty these days, and if he's not being honest, then he's giving an air of honesty after his name was just basically drugged across Hollywood after his first lie. So
And you know, I'm like this because I don't get starstruck, but you know, I remember last season I asked my guests, do they think celebrities get a pass on certain behaviors? You know, what they wear, you know, whatever the case is. And
right.
I feel like they do. I feel like a lot of times you can get to a certain status and just do anything, and there's no repercussion, there's no reprimand.
Yes.
And I think for me, I'm a body language person. Like, I'm going to read the room. I'm going to see how other people involved speak about the situation. And nobody from the show has really said he didn't do it. They've only said we're keeping him
right, right.
You know, when people say that, they think you're lying.
Cover there, where we don't really know. There's no agreement or disagreement, just that we acknowledge that something has transpired, but we are not in agreement or disagreement about what those facts are.
Yeah, and you know, as it turns out, as we see, you can't just do everything. Let me bring Nate back in. Hey, sir.
I apologize.
You can't just bring. I said, well, maybe he had to take a call.
No.
Yeah, you can't just do everything you want to as a celebrity. Nate, we're referring to Jussie Smollett hoax scandal. We're gonna say a hoax. That's what it was, a hoax. It's just my opinion. You know, you may feel like he actually did experience, but you can't hear me.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Okay. Santana, you there? You're not muted, love. Say something for me. Twin. Hello. Try to go out and come back in. Okay, Nate. I'm gonna give you the next one, okay?
I'm ready.
I'm just ready to see what you gonna say. Pastor Dwayne Dawkins caught with his legs cropped on the bed. Is that the truth? Oh, I know you're lying.
And who was the preacher again?
I can only say it once. No, Pastor hashtag Dwayne Dawkins.
I know you lying.
Okay. So you don't think that's true?
No.
I mean, there is proof.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah. You know, and he was Santana, you good by the way? She can't hear.
Yes, I can hear now.
Okay. I was like,
yeah, I can hear.
You know, so wait, Santana, I know you ain't see this on Twitter. I ain't even gonna hit you with it. But so Pastor Dwayne Dawkins was caught in a sex tape. I can't even say it was a sex tape. When you think of a sex tape, you think about Pamela Anderson and Tommy Lee, Mimi Faust with the shower rod. This looked like midday heavy petting. Just, you know, for me, I was just like, at least if you're gonna do something to that regard,
you were expecting more.
Be great at doing it. You know?
Oh wow!
I'm just saying, and I think his wife is who I initially thought about. Like, Jesus, your man was rocking and don't stop it. And so we're gonna keep him in prayer, you know, because he just recently made a post after being gone for a few moments from social media.
Man, what was that about?
This is my thing when people resurface, and it's that, you know, the caption is, "I'm stronger than I was yesterday." Sir,
that's that church rhetoric.
Are you talking about you or the dingling? You know, and I think for me, at the end of the day, I don't think he I don't know. I was gonna say I don't think he ever thought the guy would record, but the phone was positioned. Okay. Anyway.
So he didn't know that it was being recorded, or is that what
I'm not sure. You would have to review it. You know, just take a couple minutes, because that's all it was. And yeah, the phone was positioned to a space where, like, maybe he didn't.
But no, I think he knew he was being recorded.
But y'all lift Dwayne up, and hopefully he won't be taking down no more Twitter and porn stars. Okay. Last one.
You just see that so much.
What's that?
You see that so much. That, I'm caught in a scandal, but I'm very, very sorry, or I'm going to disappear for a sabbatical, and then I'm going to come back and reappear and magically disassociate myself with everything that I've done, and it just never happened.
Yep. And I think most of the time, I ain't gonna say these pastors, but these pastors, they don't consider that you have to be careful. You should never be that comfortable sharing spaces with not just Twitter porn stars, but just anybody who isn't your core. And like I heard someone say, well, his wife probably, that's why she ain't surfaced. She probably doing the same thing. No, maybe she hasn't surfaced because she's embarrassed. Maybe she hasn't surfaced because she didn't know he was gay. That's a possibility because it happens every day. And on one hand, I know we quick to say we'll pray for him, which is true. We should, but yeah, it's the same thing like with this Benzino situation. If you get a moment, go look at Candy speak on it, which premiered today with Benzino of Love and Hip Hop. Just moment of silence because so Shauna Brooks, who's a popular transgender in the community out of Atlanta, well, she's from Virginia, but she has come on the surface to say that she was in a relationship with Benzino and that she doesn't want to hide no more. But that's no here nor there. All I'm just saying is we got to be careful. And Nate, you know this about me, Twin, you probably do too, but I'm a very probable thinker. So in my mind, I put people in scenarios. For instance, if it's given a night of cocaine and alcohol, there may be a chance you're not remembering this the next day, in all honesty. And you would have to look at the video and then give me your thoughts, because on one hand, this seemed like a Black man who grew up on the streets and does not really understand LGBTQ. And on the other hand, it seems like a toxic Black man who is defending something he did do. That happens too. Okay. And so I think, and I mean, this is a question for y'all. Why do you think it's always a scare tactic after these heterosexual men, alleged straight men, have dealings with, not even dealings, encounters? Because I've seen it get rough just from encounter. Why do you think there's a fear tactic?
I mean, because they still have a negative stigma behind it. Although the LGBTQ community is becoming more widely accepted, still, especially in the Black community, is still very extremely taboo. And those guys in that lifestyle, the rapper world, if I can say that, they're judged very harshly on that. They try their best to separate themselves as much as they can, from that, so they're not shunned or questioned about that type lifestyle. But I mean, it all just stemmed from Black toxic masculinity, that we spoke about that before here on the show.
Yeah, and I hope that we can get to a space that we are loved first and questioned second.
Yeah.
As campy and as corny as that sounds, I think that is really the only way we will reach a position of understanding and mutual respect. Because what I found is most of the time gays are not bothered, so the respect is not a necessity. It's not something we have to give. It's just like, cool, I ain't stunting you, not checking for you. But on the other hand, it's like, I'll deal with it, or it's always this thing of high and low. So yeah. That's that. But please look at that video.
Well, I was just gonna add in that yes, it is the toxic masculinity. And I think a bigger part of the scare tactics though is they don't want the individual relationships and interpersonal relationships that they have to change. They don't want those individuals to see them as who they really are. And I think that's where the scare tactics come in, because everyone in their circle would question who they are. And they're not ready to face that. They're not ready to face what's in the mirror. They're not ready to face their family seeing them as they really are. That's to me, that's the number one scare tactic. They have to protect that image, that reputation, and
absolutely. I totally agree. Because the truth is, it's not new. This is definitely nothing new. I'm sure in the 60s, it was niggas, messing with transsexuals. Transsexual thing ain't just happened. Or transgender. It's just now in the forefront because of where we are in culture. But
yes,
I need y'all to see that video though. Hilarious. It's almost equivalent of the R. Kelly and Robert.
Oh my.
Robert.
Oh my.
So listen, let's get just a little bit of background on you, twin. I'm gonna put you in the hot seat. So you were born in Norfolk, Virginia, that's correct?
I am in the hot seat.
Yes.
I grew up in Norfolk. I was born in Newport, Rhode Island, and then grew up in Norfolk.
Okay. And okay, so did you go to high school in Rhode Island?
No, I went to high school in Norfolk. So basically, Norfolk is my hometown. You could just say that's my hometown. That's my stomping grounds. I went to Norview, went to Old Dominion University for a couple of years. So that's where I grew up, planted roots, have family and friends still there. And if people ask me, well, when are you going home? It's a good split between Norfolk and Elizabeth City, North Carolina.
Okay. So you know about Feather and Fin, Dumars.
Yes.
Okay, all the things.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. And so as far as writing, what initially inspired you to start writing? Like what was the spark? And you like, okay, I like this.
I remember I was in high school, probably around 9th grade, my freshman year, and I took a creative writing class. And that creative writing class just sparked a fire and a passion. And I started writing short stories for my friends in high school. And then I just started practicing poetry. We'd get a prompt in the class and I would just write and write and write. And I didn't really know that I had so much to say until somebody else asked me to write what you think. And it just became a passion. Yes, it's spilling over. My cup runneth over.
Come on.
and I had so much to say, and I felt good when I wrote. I really did. I felt good. I felt understood, and I felt acknowledged just in my own thought process about many different topics. So writing just became very much a part of who I am.
That's beautiful. Would you say that you had moments of adversity and literally writing your gift was what brought you out of it?
Come through, twin. Come through.
So look, you were a couple seconds behind me. So when I said it, all I see was you shaking your head like, yes, was my portion.
Come through.
Yeah.
Yes, there have been many tear-stained poems, and there has been many prayers that I wrote out, because I tend to write my prayers out to God. So
that's cool.
I have written, I pray to God, and I just make it a letter, and I write to Him. And this one time I was
say,
going
"Dear
through,
God."
I literally say, "Dear God." I could like go on my phone right now, and there's a letter. It's gonna say,
That's
"Dear
dope.
God."
That's dope. That's a jewel, y'all. So
Yeah.
the struggles, the adversity, or even if it's just something positive, write God a letter. Email.
Write God a letter. It's like texting God like a giant text. But
You're not afraid of your
so
That part.
so I'm going through, right? I'm going through, circumstances, situations. I'm being tested. And so I wrote this letter to God, my prayers, and I was just letting God know, how much I believe in him, how much I know that he can bring me out of my situation and my circumstances better than I went in. And it was just this moment where the words on the page just synced up with all my faith and all my heart.
Yes.
And I just felt like God telling me, yes.
And you know what I was thinking too, I'm sure Nate would also say that writing his book, Master Can You Use Me, probably healed some spaces or healed some things as he progressed in it. And I think too, because I haven't written a book, that's another conversation. I was about to go on the whole thing. I haven't written a book yet. Right. But if I did, I'm sure it would be like a memoir, and I think too, I would probably have to incorporate some of my life lessons easily because they were all cinematic. They were all, for me, intentional. I even heard Charlamagne on the radio this morning, and DJ Envy was like, so you don't think it's good and bad? He's like, I really don't. I think there's something like good and something like bad, but I think everything is a design process. Like, it all matters. And when he said, I was like, wow, what a way to look at, because sometimes if it's molestation, if it's drug abuse, if his daddy weren't there, we hold that sometimes as the banner of what, kind of curated our life or that structured it. And I'm like, but what if that was just a part of the story? There's no bad person, no villain. It's just what it was meant to be to get you to your purpose. And so,
everyone's obstacle course is different.
Oh, you say?
I say everyone's obstacle course is different.
Yes, facts, big facts.
Yes.
But Santana, I have a question for you. I have a question.
Sure.
So my question is, when you write, and sometimes you write and you sit on it, when do you know you're ready to release it?
Good question.
That is a very good question. Thank you, Nate. I will say that there's a moment when my heart is so full that the next natural step is to write. And that means there's been some confirmation, there's been a revelation, there's been a change to my situation. And it doesn't mean the situation is resolved. It just means I may have seen God in a different way or seen God in a different light. And now that I have this perspective, let's write it down.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's
so
good.
It's a moment of inspiration. If I could sum it up, there's a moment of inspiration that as a writer, okay, let's put this on paper.
Okay. Was there at any point did you almost want to scratch the book? And if so, what pulled you back in? Or even just pages?
Yes, to your first question. I felt that my book, Song of the Monsoon, fully exposed a lot of trauma for me, a lot of mental and physical and emotional highs and lows. And I instantly was like, am I really about to tell the whole world my business? Wow. You have that moment. And then I was like, but if I don't tell the world my business, then I can't share the world with the world.
May not get healed. Yep.
Right.
Absolutely.
And so I couldn't hold my story. So I just released it. And there is a moment where you really do say, okay, I'm in this book and I'm giving it as a gift to those that are blessed to read it.
And you know what? The best things are on the other side of fear. And, so props to you for facing it, and
thank you.
Absolutely. And it being a tangible thing that you did release, and that you were fearless in your truth. Because I always say it's not for us, it's for somebody else. I wouldn't dare want to rob somebody of the navigation, or at least save them a couple years on struggle.
Absolutely.
Simply because I went through it and not them. That's retarded. And I definitely wouldn't want God to be like, you did the wrong thing. Bye. Because that's a serious thing. So yeah, major shout out. I always said I wanted. You're welcome. I always say I want like a little book club, but I don't like to read. I don't like to read books.
Oh, wow. I understand.
I am the person who probably would be Audible.
Yeah.
I canceled my Audible subscription last month only because, But yeah, I would love to do a book club, and we talk books.
Okay.
Different type of books.
I'm there for it.
Yes,
definitely.
So listen, let's get right into it. You know me, I'm all about time and precision. Okay. And I don't want to hold my guests too long because it's Friday night.
Yes.
And the club is okay. So tonight, episode 3, mental wealth, checking your emotional balances. The play on words. Obviously it's called mental health, which is the response to mental illness. But when we think, and I'm going to say what I think, and then I want Nate and then you twin to give, when you hear mental wealth, what does that mean for you? For me, just personally, mental wealth is the value of my spirit and my mind, my soul, okay? And when I say value, not tangibly like appearance or something, but really just like my spirit, because that's who we really are, right? And just how I treat it, how I nurture it, how I protect it. That's what wealth means to me. How about you, Nate?
So I really like that you said the value of your mental health, because you're making those deposits into your life. You're making those deposits, those good deposits, meditation, reading. You don't like to read, but reading, putting those good things into your mind, and exercise, putting those good things to your body, eating right, all of that adds to that mental health, making sure the energy that you bring into your life is good. All of that adds to that mental wealth. So I think this is a amazing topic, for people to expound on.
Absolutely. I so agree. How about you, Miss Knight? Mental wealth, what does that say to you?
Mental wealth. Wow, that it is so profound. Mental wealth. I'm going to say that is the investments that I make in myself, the investments that I choose each and every day, and be intentional about my spiritual well-being, my emotional well-being, and my physical well-being. So those are all the investments that I make that build my mental wealth. And I have to continuously make sure that I am going into those investments and refreshing them all the time, and not becoming stagnant when it comes to self-care and those things. So that's mental wealth. And I do agree with both statements you guys made as well. And that I would just add that in. That's an investment in myself.
Yeah, of every 1,000 people, about 72.2 die because of suicide. That's a big number to me. And I say, even like in church, if one soul is saved, even just one person committed suicide because somebody didn't pick up the phone or somebody judged them for the 14th time, is awful. Every time it happens is awful. I don't care how you feel about people taking their life, it's still a condition that we should deal with when we're talking about mental illness. And so, I wanted to share just a couple exercises, and I want to get, well, not exercises, but they're kind of like anecdotes. And I would just love for you, Nate, and Twin, and ladies first, Twin, well, we're all ladies. No, I'm playing. No, but Twin, you can go first, and then Nate, you can piggyback, okay?
Okay.
And thank y'all, too, because I ain't gonna lie, I'm calling this it's a Saucy Fresh podcast, and something was just like, you need to speak to mental illness. Like, yes, you can talk about pop culture and Housewives of Atlanta, but you want to have this episode documented that you at least spoke to something that a lot of people are going through and not talking about. You know what I mean? And sometimes it's your neighbor, that's giving you city girl and life is good, and she's depressed and mentally ill, right? So yeah, thank y'all for sharing this space on this topic with me.
Absolutely.
Okay, so the first one, it says, find a circle or unit of people who speak positive affirmations and steer you back in the right direction. That's the first one. And so basically, like, change your circle. I think sometimes we don't even realize it's the people around us. Like I said, I'm big on energy, and you got to be careful. You can hang around your good Judy from school, and she's toxic, in a toxic relationship. And you may think that you go and don't absorb that stuff. And then you realize you start thinking and saying the same stuff. And before you know it, that misery is married to company, right? And so I think it's always important. And I feel like, it's just me. Do an annual checkup of your circle. Yeah, go clean it, sift it, go through who hasn't really grown with you, who's still talking about the same old stuff. And pay attention to people who don't speak affirmations, because that is a thing. Like I said, I speak life. You can call it corny, you can call it extra. I don't care. But as for me in my house, I'm going to speak it as though it already was. Okay?
Yeah.
And so let me go to you, Twin, first. I'm going to keep you both on the screen, but I want to go to you, Twin. Changing your circle and being around people who speak positive affirmations. How do you feel about that?
I think the environment that we thrive in is going to be defined by the connections that we have around us. And if our connections are to people and places and things that do not serve our purpose and that do not serve our higher good, is always going to keep you stagnant. It may even cause you to lose some space that you may have established for yourself, and
absolutely,
and you may find yourself going backwards in life.
Yeah.
So your support circle and your connections literally have a direct impact on your purpose and just how far you can go in your personal and professional development.
Yeah.
And either your circle is going to hold you back or your circle is going to push you forward. And whenever I need to review my circle, I see who's pulling me back and who's pushing me forward. And I read something just the other day, who's fanning your flames? Ooh. I want the people that are fanning my flames.
Not light me on fire.
Me.
Yeah, that's good.
Literally.
Hashtag fan my flame.
So change your circle. If they're not fanning your flame, let them
I like that.
Because then they probably extinguishing. Yeah.
Jesus.
Thank you.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
That's so good. Hashtag fan my flame. All right, Nate.
Don't be I like that.
Yeah.
But I believe environment. I'm so glad that Santana said that environment is key. And I'm a church boy, so I always have to take it back to church, because life and death lies in the power of your tongue. And it's not just your tongue, but those who are speaking over your life.
Yes.
You know, so it's very important to make sure that you know who you're sharing your energy with. But one of the things I wanted to say as well, but you have to be aware of the same energy that you bring to others as well. And it's just this thing with suicide. It just really gets me. I think I've shared this with you. I had a friend of mine that recently died from suicide, from something that stemmed from church. And I tell people often that, you know, if church isn't, you can sit in church for years and not grow. And if you can sit in church for years and not grow. And if your service or if your church isn't as Santana so eloquently put it, if it's not fanning your flame, then I'm telling you, it's time to move on. You know, we go to church and we're so used to this gospel that is just so detrimental to our life that it's not giving us nothing to live by day to day.
Yeah.
Because even the Bible declared that he came that we might have life and have it more abundantly.
Yeah.
He came for us to understand the good news. So why we sit in a church that's going to always give us the bad? So you definitely have to be aware of
a mouthful with that word.
Come on.
And I think, and I promise, we're not gonna go way off, but hashtag church hurt, when we speak about church hurt, right? A lot of us, the foundation of our perception, our morals, what we like and what we don't like, even down to how we eat with others, right? It stems from church or some setting where church was the banner. And I think the thing is that it was never about church, it was about relationship. And so, especially when we speak about Black people, we do not exercise relationship. I heard someone once say that a ship should be taking you somewhere. Anything with the word ship in it should be taking you somewhere. And if it isn't, get off. And I know for me, and thank God for healing, like for really saying like, okay, what was my position in it? And then, how do I not be a victim of the situation and move forward? Because a lot of the, self-judgment for me, how I saw myself, what I changed, what I edited, came from church, right? And that kind of was the circle. You're talking about Bible study, rehearsal, it's a weekly thing. So these are the core people I'm around, and these are the same people talking about my clothes or how I speak or where I live, and did my dad tithe this week? I don't need to be concerned about that at 5. Okay. But it is, centrally going back to the thing about your circle. And so thank God that we're in positions now where we know it's about relationship. I feel like that message is definitely pushed more these days. So yeah, I think we all agree. Number 1, change your circle. If they are not fanning your flame, put them out. Okay. Next one. Oh, this is good. Okay, this one says engagement. Stay in the present. You may not be able to turn off the self-judgment, but you can notice it and bring yourself gently back to the present. Research shows that people with higher self-compassion also have higher self-worth or self-confidence. Stay in the present. Let me tell you why this blessed my soul. For a long time, and I'm sure y'all can relate, my journey wasn't like everybody else's, right? For most people, you graduate high school, you go to college, you graduate college, you get your master's, and then you get a job, you get married, have kids, right? Pretty cookie cutter.
Where they do that at?
Pleasantville. That didn't appeal to me ever. And it wasn't even a thing like if I had seen it in my peers or witnessed it that I became jealous or envious. I was like, awesome, great for you. But I'm a rock star. And even when we talk about 9 to 5 and necessarily clocking in, that just never. I did it. Let's be clear. I was a whole custodian for like 4 years, so nothing was beneath me. But always have moved to the beat of my own drum, right? And there were times where I would turn on the TV and see somebody I went to governing school with, or be watching something on Hulu and see somebody I was in, Broadway theater part, like just stuff that it was like, well, dang, I'm not doing anything. And then I had to stop myself and say, but you have done a lot at just 36. And not even just about doing stuff, but just the self-edification with gratitude for having a peaceful life. And, everything that glitters isn't gold. And it was some people that I would even be like, wow, they're touring, and then see that they were depressed that whole time, or they were struggling, and I had to will myself back and say, walking was now. Stop thinking about 10 years ago. That's gone. And if you did it, you would have wanted. If you wanted to do it, you would have did it, right? But I totally agree with this. Stay in the present. So yeah, Nate, I'll let you go first. When we say stay in the present,
I like this.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to disconnect because you don't want to get caught up in what someone else is doing. That's not your journey. And like you said, you don't know what they're going through in their journey.
Right.
So you don't ever want to continue to judge yourself from what you see other people are doing. And the crazy part, we all do this. We've all been here. Even as an author, I see other authors that thrive within our community, and I know that within our community sometimes they ride the what's hype, he the hype, so we gonna buy this because this hype, and you have to turn that off because that's not where you're going. I'm speaking for myself because my book is doing extremely well. I am grateful every day to look at my sales goal, and I'm making sales daily. So I may not be selling out millions of copies, but I do believe that God gave me a story. I put the story out, and the only thing that I can do is trust the process. And so I have to sometimes disconnect, which is what I recently did. I had to disconnect, from social media, from anything as Santana. I'm saying this is gonna be I'm gonna speak this word all day. Anything that's not fanning my flame, I had to disconnect from it because I always want to be. I want to be burning. I want to be burning up.
Come on. But yeah,
I love it.
I appreciate you saying that. And like I said, it's so easy, right? It's so easy. It's probably easier to think about what you're not doing than to stay committed to what you should be.
Yep.
And so I just commend both of you because you both have books out, and Nate, I did the cover for you too. This wasn't planned, I promise y'all, but I remember even when we were discussing, going back and forth with what that vibe would be, and I remember you was like, I just want a man in a spiritual setting, kind of just as he is. And I was like, okay, so is this really about you? And he was like, well, not specifically, but there are pieces that definitely speak to. And I instantly was like, I wonder if something was healed as he wrote this book. And even in moments where he had to edit pages and say, well, I don't know, you stuck to it because you like, all right, it might be a teenager Nate, or a 6-year-old Nate, or a 55-year-old Nate, to read your book and be like, wow, and help, navigate and stay in the present, Jesus. Listen, I literally did a little bit of research, but I'm going to make that one of my mantras, including hashtag fan my flame. Okay. We love it.
All right.
All right, next one. Wow. Let's focus on relationships. And it says, focus on people who lift you up. I'm going to say it again for the people in the back. Focus on people who lift you up. While it's okay to have some alone time, find a balance and don't isolate yourself, or wait for it, the depression will linger. Woo! Definitely. I'm an only child, so for the most part, I move solo. I want to say not even by choice. It's just second nature that I do things by myself. But there was a time in my life, probably like right after high school, that I just had to have a village. Anything I did, I had to have 10 people associated with it. And what you think? And then it was like I had to stop myself and say, you're really pulling people who may not have wanted to hang lights, who may not have wanted to paint poster boards. And I started to see that everybody may have sight, but may not have your vision, right? And so you just have to be careful that you don't associate with people who aren't really lifting up your gifts, your purpose. And this is not a thing about cheerleading or ego, but I'm saying, like, you could tell me today, twin, I want to become a chef, right?
Mm-hmm.
And truthfully, I have a responsibility and a choice to speak life or death to that, right?
Yes.
Especially with us Black people, you ever notice you could say something that Uncle John may not get, and immediately it's like, well, how long you been in? Have you been to school for it? And do you know the proper licenses? Okay, maybe all I needed was go for it, nephew. I'll be praying for you. Yeah. And so, and I'll start with you, Santana. When we talk about the people that lift you up, how are those people? What do they look like? What do they sound like? People that lift you up.
The people that lift me up, I call those individuals my roots. And when you think about a tree has visible roots, and then a tree also has a root system that goes underground to connect it to the source, to the water. So when I think about the people, and I see something fired up in Nate, but the people that you surround yourself with that encourage you, that uplift you, that pray with you, that pray for you, that share your vision, that share your heart, that believe in you, those people literally become the roots in your life. And every time I've had something major or something wonderful, I call the roots. And when I call to the roots, I can feel my manifestation coming. You know what I'm saying? Because the roots are just, God is going to do it. And I can't wait till you do such and such. And I feel literally
it even translated in your face as you were speaking about them, like you visibly. I love that. Yeah.
So that's my support system, my roots. And I have to say this, you are one of my roots, twin. You are.
Thank you. And likewise, there has been a time that I've spoken to you on the phone that you didn't encourage me, versus, speaking negatively. And I thank you for that. I tell you, you're the light queen, the phoenix. Nate, what you got? People that lift you up, what do they sound like? Who are those people?
My tribe, as I would call them, is, they have an unequivocal courage just to be authentic. They speak truth into me. They make sure that I'm always working, not just operating in my purpose, but making sure that I am staying focused, always lifting me up, not just lifting me up in words, but in deed. And because I once heard a preacher say, in the morning, will words become deeds that meet deeds? So my friends definitely have become that space for me. And I have a small tribe of friends that you as well sit in counsel of, because I like for my tribe to be like-minded. I like for my tribe we all aspire to be great in whatever area or avenue that you want to you want to be great in, but we have to speak that life into that. Because I want everybody to win. You hear me, Santana? I want us all to win. I want everything that I'm attached to win.
Yeah.
You get a win. You get a win. You get a win. Yeah. You know,
I receive it.
Yeah,
I receive my win.
Yes. You know, and while we even saying it, you know, it's my affirmation. It keeps happening for me. That's what I keep saying. I keep saying it. Got it from Kiki Shear, and literally, things have just turned around. Even in moments where even my ignorance was about to lead me down a dark place, or you know, encountering with somebody that really won't for me, it was just like phone go dead, or something come. You know what I mean? Just stuff you have to really say like, okay, God really got me. Like I don't need to mess this up. So yes. All right, I got one more, and I think this probably to me is the most important when we talk about mental wealth, because a lot of times when you're dealing with depression and even anxiety, we isolate ourselves, right? And I'm saying we because we've all experienced it and overcame it. And I think as a solution, this one says pleasant events. Just schedule an activity. You know, get out the house. Okay. You know, you're concerned about COVID, go to a park. That's you know, you're still outside, but do something. Get out the house. It says don't wait for yourself to be in the mood. For example, give yourself permission for a 30-minute vacation. I love that. Or schedule a healthy hobby every day. Just remember to do these activities, wait for it, with the right attitude. So I may have been upset and, you know, my guy left me and I don't want to deal with nobody, but I may need to do the opposite. And it's funny, I actually have a mechanism that I say to my friends. It's called reverse response. I've been saying it for a couple of years, where I say, if your first mindset is to get on Facebook and make a subliminal post, send that person a Cash App for lunch. I promise you it'll shift the atmosphere. I am a living witness. Because what that does, because I think the universe is a real thing. I think energy is a real thing. I think there are moments where you could be in a high toxic environment and literally become a part of that organism, if you will. And I have literally been in spaces, because I am the comeback king, okay? Mouth is crazy, and my hands are too. Okay. But it was like, you're not reaping nothing from being petty on Instagram. You're not adding life to you going around to talk to other people about them. That's not like, and them people sleeping at night. Okay. And so how do y'all feel about that? Scheduling activities, getting out of the house, doing things. And what would you say? Give me 2 or 3 activities that probably are necessary for that 30-minute vacation. I'm gonna say an hour vacation.
Well, it would just depend.
I don't know what happened.
Are you speaking
there?
Yeah, I'm
You
sorry.
good?
I didn't know. I just said listening to music and going to the beach. Those are 2 very mindful.
Look, this broadcast giving me CNN teas. Say it again for me.
I said going to the beach and listening to music are 2 of the
Yes.
most mindful things I can do for myself.
Absolutely. And as I get on blanket music, like, you know, take a Bluetooth speakers, a little blanket. Yeah, definitely.
Yes.
Okay, Nate.
I suffer from anxiety, severe anxiety, and I'm still in therapy trying to find the root of it. I believe that I know what the root of it is. I don't think I have been willingly to say it yet, but I do believe I understand what the root of my anxiety is. But one of the things I like to do, and I like that they said, you know, sometimes you have to, sometimes you want to separate yourself, or isolate yourself, if I should say.
Naturally, yeah.
Just to pull yourself together or try to pull yourself out of it. I get that. But one of the things I tell myself is you can't stay here too long. I would allow you to be here for this moment, but you can't stay here long. So you have to find
Amen.
those activities to get out. So one of the things I like to do is I like to dress up. So I'm gonna give you a quick
I'm
story that
sorry, what?
happened. I like to dress up. Um, so last week, one of the things, my anxiety has been really high for the past 2 weeks. So last week I got dressed up for work, and this was like on a Thursday. I mean, I put on suit, I put on tie, and you do these because you want these compliments. So I'm going places, people telling me, "Oh, that's a nice tie. I like your frames." So I'm like, "Oh yeah, now I'm feeling good about myself." And then I get off the train to walk to work, and it rains. I said, Lord, what are you doing to me? But you need those things, and then immediately after that,
Yeah.
a friend of mine called me, and they were like, "We going out tonight. We going to listen to some music," and it was like the perfect because as a music lover, you just find those things that bring you to happy. Like Santana said, a nice beach vacation. If
Mm-hmm.
being on the beach bring you tranquility, then the beach is where you need to be. If
Yeah.
going to a listening party, putting on headphones
Mm.
by yourself, jamming by yourself will bring you peace, you need to just do these activities. And I really love this conversation because, as we stated, the statistics of suicide, mental illness,
Yeah.
depression, anxiety. I think if more people had the understanding of what it is to get yourself through this, because sometimes we suffer in silence. We honestly do as Black folks, and I think it's just what's been instilled in us to do, because we didn't believe in mental illness. We didn't believe it was a
I'm still
real
don't.
thing. Yes. They make you go get in the bed, drink some ginger ale and get in the bed because that's the cure for all. But it's good that we're having these conversations for somebody to listen to, which is one of the things when I was talking to Santana earlier about her poetry and her writings. When do she put those out? Because that's therapy that she's giving to
Facts.
somebody else, because this is things that she went through that washed her, that purged her, and that cleansed her, that is going to do the exact same thing to somebody that read that, because they're going to read that from her heart. So
Yeah.
these conversations that we're having about mental illness and about this mental wealth, and because it is what we want to do. We want you to be rich in your mentality. We want your mental state to be so rich that you can enrich others.
That's good. Wow.
Yes.
You
Yes.
want to be so rich that you enrich others. And look, I
Yes.
want to say this. This was the last little tidbit. It said, note that being grateful for your blessings doesn't mean you have to discount your problems.
Exactly.
That's right.
I think, in this world where it's about clout and, recording fights and posting them, and, who can get the last readout, it's so pertinent to have people that say, I love you.
Mm-hmm.
Keep doing what you're doing. I'm here if you need me. Those type of affirmations and covering statements are necessary, not just in these times, but period. B says always stay gracious. Best revenge is your paper. So in the event, just be kind. I encourage y'all to adopt reverse response, because I'm telling you, it will shift energy instantly. It won't be something you have to wait to see. Instead of getting them back, send them money for lunch, or send them, some well wishes. Don't fight fire with fire. Okay.
I love that.
Listen, I want to thank you both. Because I want to thank you for two reasons. One, I want to thank y'all for being selfless on a Friday night. Okay. And just for saying, like, yes, and I have this conversation, because not everybody wants to have it, right? Especially us. Secondly, I want to thank y'all for carrying the torch, I guess we could say, of betterment, of transparency, especially transparency. Both of you, I definitely have thought about at moments, just when I'm creating or if I'm about to do something. I have thought about our conversations. I visualize how you made me feel in the moments you encourage me. And that type of stuff really matters. Like, you literally never know. A person could be one tweet away from suicide. It sounds silly, but then you think about how many people logged on instead of going outside or, reaching out to whoever that person is and decided to take their life. So thank y'all for continuing to stand in your truth and for being fearless in it. I'm grateful to know both of you. And yeah, listen, Santana, give the people your social media and please let us know what's going on with you, how we can stay connected and updated with you.
Well, first of all, thank you so much for this space and this time. And it was a very refreshing conversation with the both of you. So I do appreciate you having me here. You can follow me on Instagram at warriors_monsoon. And you can also reach me on, I think it's Clubhouse. I'm Santana Knight on Clubhouse.
Okay. Awesome. And we're going to make sure and post that we put that information on the pages. Okay. Nate, you as well.
Love it.
How can the people follow you, sir?
Man, first, I just want to say I appreciate you for this space, for such excellent guests such as Santana being on the air. I've learned so much. I mean, I have so much that I'm going to take back into my own life and allow it to resonate so I can regurgitate it on Monday. But I do have a book, and it is in hardback. Did y'all know my book was in hardback? My book.
Come on, somebody.
And so my book is available at barnesandnobles.com as well as Amazon.com. You can also get it from my website, NateWhitfield.com. So my IG handler is Nate_Chronicles, and you can find me everywhere else at DMV Socialite.
Awesome. Listen, y'all know I always do a final thought, or at least I try to. And I've said this before on just social media, but you cannot take old baggage onto a new flight. Okay, I'm going to say it again. You can't take old baggage onto a new flight. There's a reason, there's a weight limit. And what that means is let it go. #Frozen. It's probably easier to remember stuff you haven't done or that affected you or offended you, but simply let it go. And you will start to see your days, your nights, your weeks, your years be brighter than they ever were before. Listen, I love y'all. Until next time, it's deuces. We had a great time this evening, and I'll see y'all next week. Thank you again, Nate Whitfield. Thank you again, Santana. Night.